Yeah, we've got another influencer that's being canceled. Shocking. I feel like the new meta for 2024 in regards to content creation is either you retire a hero or stay long enough to become a villain. This week, a ton of evidence has surfaced regarding Ava Kris Tyson of the MrBeast crew and how they knowingly communicated with minors in an inappropriate manner. Full disclosure, I don't normally talk about this kind of drama simply because of integrity levels. However, with the amount of evidence and status Ava Kris Tyson has online, especially in the MrBeast community, I couldn't resist. I'll try to keep it level-headed and yeah, let's just get right into this. First off, there are a ton of screenshots showcasing exactly what was said to minors between the ages of 13 and 14 at the time, while Ava was well within their early 20s. Some of them were just public tweets that flew under everyone's nose. Right here, you'll see Ava Tyson replying to Lava, who was 13 at the time, saying, "I posted some fire nudes for you, please no share." And other tweets such as, "But not $5, pathetic, JK," and adds a kissy face. Like, that's weird. And they communicated a lot, even sending Snapchats. Here's one that says, "Coming for America," and even goes as far as being in a group chat with minors. Under no circumstances should an adult be communicating with minors in any inappropriate manner, let alone knowingly join a group chat full of them sending things like "Coming for America." That's just disturbing. Now, from everything I could find about this situation, it seems like most of these screenshots and evidence comes from a YouTuber named Prism42. I'll put a link to the video in the description, and this is where things seem to have started. After this video was published, there's since been a lot more screenshots and other evidence to come out, and unfortunately, it's all pretty bad. I think one of them involves Ava Tyson having a habit of calling 13-year-olds daddy. I'm not really sure. Either way, you can't just pretend like that's nothing. It's not. Now, the 14-year-old in question with some of these messages did come forward and try to give their own account regarding the situation. And according to them, they don't think that they were groomed or that anything bad happened on Ava Tyson's part. No shit! I'm not an armchair psychiatrist, I haven't passed the bar, but I feel like in a situation like this, it's very difficult to process just how inappropriate something is or unacceptable something was when you lived it. It's not something you see in the moment. Often, it's in hindsight, and it can be very difficult to accept that this person you were communicating with for such a long time was knowingly doing something that was wrong. And I say knowingly simply because there are rare cases where the child is dishonest about their age, catfishing someone who truly has no malicious intent and was simply under the impression that this person was of their own age group. I'm not saying you have to give them your date of birth, driver's license, social security, Target gift card, nothing like that, but if you were upfront about your age, which is very much not the age of anything, then the fault is 100% on them. What Ava Tyson did was pedophilia, and you may not feel like a victim, but it is completely unacceptable that they would communicate with a child like this. It just is. Ava Tyson also had a history of being a Shadman enthusiast. However, because the account was banished to the back rooms, it's been very hard to find the exact dates at which this occurred. But this image comes from Mudahard's video, and they censored the image because the character did not appear to be 18 or older. I was completely unfamiliar with Shadman before making this video, but now that I've been educated, I fucking wish I had a Men in Black neuralizer right about now. So Shadman was an artist who drew child porn. I'm not talking lolly or some anime hentai type shit where the character looks underage but is actually a 15,000-year-old demon. No, he was drawing real children sexually. And one of the most infamous cases was when he drew Keemstar's 8-year-old daughter in a pornographic manner. That's not here to say or anything, this was a real case that actually happened, and what's even crazier is the fact that people defended it. A lot of people defended him simply because they didn't like Keemstar. I don't want to marinate in this, it's just absolutely disgusting what he did and how he received praise for it. Anyways, going back to Ava Kris Tyson, there were tweets from them talking either to or about Shadman. Again, I can't find any of them because the account's been nuked, but some were archived, one of which may have indicated that Ava actually purchased a piece from Shadman. So here's a clip from a MrBeast video that has Shadman art displayed in the background, and it belongs to Ava Tyson. Obviously, I can't show it, but this is irrefutable evidence that they were associated with Shadman at one point, with the only question still lingering is whether the piece was purchased or commissioned. At the very least, however, Ava Tyson did own an authentic Shadman, which they had to know was child porn given they frequently communicated to and talked about Shadman. I know what I've talked about already is delivering enough as is, but somehow it gets worse. Apparently, another disturbing video surfaced where they made a video a long time ago that linked to revenge porn of Jeanette McCurdy.
The story is she sent pictures to her boyfriend, her now ex-boyfriend, and he leaked them out, and the link's in the description if you want to see them. I mean, I'm not endorsing people to go look at somebody else's private business, but I know that you know, people might want to see them, so it's there if you want it.
Sharing revenge porn publicly, that's unhinged. So all of this eventually became mainstream, with more and more people sharing evidence of Ava Tyson communicating inappropriately with or about minors. Now, I think it's important to mention that most of the evidence is screenshots, so there is a chance that it could be fake, similar to the Dream allegations a while back. However, everything that is not chat related is very much irrefutable, and unlike Dream, Ava has yet to disprove any of these allegations and actually made a statement a couple days ago. I would like to apologize for any of my past behavior or comments if it hurt or offended anyone. It was not my intent. Seeing recent events, we've mutually decided it's best I permanently step away from all things MrBeast and social media to focus on my family and mental health. That is the opposite of an apology. Nothing in that response takes accountability or refutes any of the claims. If any of the information was wrong or faked, you would think one of the first things they'd talk about is setting the record straight. But here, it seems like Ava Tyson's goal was to garnish sympathy more than anything. Full disclosure, Ava Tyson did drop more tweets after the initial statement, refuting the allegations. But they've already pretty much sealed their fate. Making that initial statement that dodged the question in itself was already incriminating enough, but because of it, we're now led to believe everything that was assumed up till this point is correct, all of which is indefensible. They also state how they didn't want the accusations to impact the hundreds of people who work at MrBeast, which is why they stepped away. Now, there's a couple other things I want to go over, because with the severity of the accusations, along with huge ties to the largest online creator ever, there's a lot of layers to this disgusting onion. The first thing is MrBeast's response to the accusations. Unlike Ava, they seem to understand the severity of this and takes accountability. He states he does not condone or support any of the inappropriate actions and plans to hire an independent third party to conduct a thorough investigation. He also states they've taken immediate action and removed Ava from the company, channel, and any associations with MrBeast. I mean, that contradicts Ava's prior statement that it was mutual, but that's not the point. I know there are some goons online that are trying to get MrBeast canceled by scrounging for any sort of evidence that he knew what was going on with Ava, and I've just got to put shame on those people. Maybe Jimmy was hesitant at the beginning. This was his best friend, somebody he's known longer than anyone else before he was MrBeast, but maybe he wanted to check the legitimacy of what was being thrown at them first, because, not trying to defend Ava's actions here, but they were relatively hated online prior to this revelation. This is actually a perfect correlation to the second thing I wanted to mention, and it involves another YouTuber, Sunny V2. Back when Ava was first making their transition, Sunny made a video which was previously titled, "Why Kris Will Soon Be a Nightmare for MrBeast," at which he did a breakdown of what the situation could mean for MrBeast, given the current online landscape, with the general outline being negative for him. The video was met with criticism labeled transphobic because it involved talking about a marginalized person in a less than positive way. Well, as soon as these accusations came to light, the internet rushed to that video and Sunny's latest video to collectively apologize. I think this comment perfectly summarizes it. 5% of comments talking about the video, 95% you were right about Kris. Now I know that was a peculiar thing to reference regarding the current situation, but I promise it serves a purpose. Basically, a sizable chunk of people who defended Ava then are still doing it now, despite this current development. In fact, the Rolling Stones published an article claiming the reason as to why Ava left MrBeast was because of transphobia. If that isn't the biggest sign of cope, then I don't know what is. Needless to say, this couldn't be further from the truth. I'm not trying to justify the transphobic attacks Ava received prior to this. That's a whole other can of worms. But this is a perfect example of how the online community and media will try to justify a person's crime simply because they're part of a marginalized group. Gender identification is not an excuse for a crime that involves a person's age. Claiming transphobia was the reason as to why Ava was removed from MrBeast hides the severity of the situation, portrays MrBeast as the perpetrator, is super disrespectful to the victims, and actively defends a pedophile. I can't believe this even needs to be said. It's not transphobic to dislike Ava after everything that's been revealed about them. I know the Rolling Stones is basically a joke of a journalist outlet, but I am still shocked that there's actually large sources trying to portray this as something else, and an even larger number of people trying to defend it. Anyways, that's about all I wanted to talk about. Absolutely an awful situation, and I can only hope that all this negativity doesn't get put onto MrBeast, because he's truly just a good guy actively trying to do the right thing and make a difference in the world. I don't think there's ever been somebody more respected than Jimmy, and he shouldn't be punished for the actions of someone else. As of me recording this, there's yet to be anything that disproves the accusations on Ava, and I just had to talk about this. That's really about it. So